Yo, am I live? I guess so. Alright, so this is my first live, yo, and I wanted to jump on real quick and talk about this thing with DaBaby, the rapper, this controversy. I'm getting a lot of stuff, a lot of messages from different people. And I was going to do a video, but I said, you know, what if I just come on here and say it straight in a live, because I wanted to get into that. So, really, this is a big conversation. It feels like a small conversation, but it's a big conversation. It's something that needs some time, but I wish I could have time to talk about just humanity, you know, and about the human experience, and about, like, you know, what it means to be straight or gay, or all these stories we have and the moral attachments we have to these questions, right? And the stories that we've inherited, and why would Baby even go on stage and make these claims, you know, in 2021, in the middle of a pandemic. I don't know. But that's a big conversation about humanity, about the human experience. To just talk about DaBaby, though, I think it's like, it's a shame because he clearly doesn't know his power, you know? This is a man who is a multimillionaire with a huge global platform, you know, and he doesn't know his power. And, you know, instead of using his power, instead of understanding his power, he's going to regurgitate some old, insulting trash for a marginalized community. And I think that's a real problem. Like, not only is he a multimillionaire and all this stuff, but he has, like, we're in the internet age, right? So he can say anything. He can get out there and say anything. He can move mountains. He can talk to people and share all kinds of interesting ideas. And instead, he's choosing to do this in 2021 at a time when there's a pandemic. There's all kinds of theft and criminality and harm happening all over the world, and he's choosing to do that. So that's how I take it. I see a man who doesn't realize how powerful he is, and if he did realize it, I think he would just make different choices. So it makes me sad, and I wish people in his camp, I wish he would come to an understanding about how powerful he could be. But the other thing is that Baby exists in a culture. I call him Baby, I don't know his fucking name. He exists in a culture, you know? He's not alone. I'm seeing articles, people talking about hip-hop in general, or about the music and the art form. It's interesting because I remember, like, when hip-hop was really starting to assert itself as an art form, and coming to the global stage, and, like, you know, way before it became what it is now, right? Which this is like a multi-billion-dollar industry with just so many thousands of millionaires have been created through hip-hop, and all this, you know, capital and resources going to all these things. It was trying to find itself, and it had different versions of it, and it was under attack. There was, like, Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh used to use it and come in, and they wanted to make a racist claim about black people. Generally, they would use hip-hop as a way to do that. And I remember people, rightly at the time, defending hip-hop, and it sort of developed as a way to be, like, you know, you would hear this claim about pulling up pants and about the violence and about the misogyny. But we knew that some of those attacks weren't coming from love, and so you jump in to defend hip-hop and say, yo, this is an art form, and, you know, hands off this. What's good, yo? Let me just stop and say hi to people. Boris. Anyway, but if you have, like, if that goes on for some time, I think hip-hop has developed in a space that hasn't allowed it to grow in some areas, you know? Like, there's issues. That's why you're seeing all this. That's why DaBaby's not alone. It's like, love is looking at it and then asking it to grow, saying, here's the potential I see that this could be. You know, I can see this being not just a financial success, but a cultural energy and a mood. We can shepherd this, and I think we're seeing now, years later, the result of kind of a consistent and unwavering support that I think needs to be challenged. Yo, we can do it differently, you know, which brings me to point 3. My third point really is the challenge. Like, it's real talk. If he had said it not between songs, but he said it in a song over a beat, what would happen? I think people wouldn't bat an eye, or, you know what I mean? It would have gone off without much of a hitch, which is a problem. You know, how is that the case? How is that? Why can't we formulate a critique there? And I think it's an interesting thing, and I want to stop before people go, well, let's fix it. You know, like, we don't need a commission to like check out what is acceptable speech in the art form and this and that. Like, that's not what we need. That's not what we should want. This thing to make sure that people are saying the right things. But we do need to understand that love is being a part of it, to be active, you know. And hip hop right now is control. It's a big corporate financial machine, and that's the other thing I want to point out. Like, these guys are not just ignorant rappers who are just saying things. Sometimes they're that, but they're also business people and really clever. And cats don't realize, like, I've come from, you know, I've worked in TV and I understand some of the media stuff right now. Like, these people understand how to work a media cycle and get attention and get headlines and get clicks. And so that's something we should consider as well. It's really rough, and we need to understand that DaBaby, you know, exists in that context. And again, that whole thing about not shepherding the culture, you got, like, there's no, like, effort to grow, like, to, you know, have difficult conversations, to ask, like, about the art and say, why does it come out this way, you know? That's the other point I want to make. Like, one of the things people say is, like, why all the misogyny? I think that's an interesting question and a worthwhile question. And, you know, one of the answers is typically, you know, about, you know, I'm a product of my environment. And I want to say that you don't have to be like, product of your environment is an interesting response, but I don't think it's true. I think we're products of our environment and our choices, you know? We're products of our environment and our choices. It's a different equation, if not just slightly. You know, if I'm the product of my environment alone, what does that mean? What are you suggesting? You're suggesting that I'm a robot or some kind of an automaton, you know? A robot gets inputs and then produces outputs very predictably. It's whatever you put in, you can predict what gets out. But I am a sentient being, you know, and I have my own experiences and thoughts. I can see an issue and interpret it. I can interpret it from a unique and creative way. I can be creative. I'm a creative. I'm a creator. We're that. And that's the challenge. Hey, what's good, everybody? That's the challenge, and I think that's what love is to say, yo, you can create this. Love is like pointing it out and saying, here's the potential you could have. So I'm not just a product of my environment. I'm the product of my environment and my choices. And it's important that I know that. Robbing me of that choice puts me in a weird place, you know? It makes me the product of my environment. Telling me that I'm not also an active agent, a creator in the space, will produce bad results. And I think that DaBaby is an example of this. What do I got? Yeah, the broader culture. Oh, the last thing I want to say too is, and hip hop exists in a broader culture, in a broader American culture. And so we're seeing this whole thing, like, the hip hop industry is an industry, and it's fueled and money fueled and very, you know, it exists in this capitalist structure, and it's feeding audiences and trying to capitalize as much as it can. And like I said, you know, these are not only artists, they're also business people. And the stuff you're seeing, the stuff you see in the mainstream, throughout this whole thing, I hope I've said that enough, the mainstream is that. There's this amazing, beautiful hip hop that you can also access, and we are, you know, it's on the internet. You can get there, and it's important to understand that those artists need your love and they need your support, and they need you to be active there too, to be an active listener, to know that all of the media we're consuming affects broader structures, and it's affecting us. It's affecting our own sense of self. So, this is all sort of context for that. But I think if we had time, I'd love to just get deeper into. I'll do it in a different video. I'll find a way to talk about the challenge itself, about like thinking about yourself. These stories, the very reason he would be so detached from, like, I don't think he's done the work to understand the LGBTQ community. I don't think he's done the work to talk to members of that community in a meaningful way. I don't think he's done the work to understand AIDS as a biological, as a phenomenon, or its transmissibility and how that works. And I don't think he understands the historical context. And there's no incentive for him to do so, except for now, it seems, because he's blurted out these limited understandings, which are offensive. And he is now going to be challenged, it seems, and I think that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him to be challenged to grow, and that other artists and other people see that. My baby says he hasn't done the work to understand pussy either. Yes, he had a comment about pussy tasting like water, and I think my baby wants him to know pussy should taste like pussy, not water, and I think that's right. That's accurate. So, I think that's all I got. This is my first live, and I think it went well. Thank you very much, everybody who popped in and out, yo. I hope this saves somewhere, too. Till next time. Everything I say, as always, comes from love. Till next time. Peace.